You're watching the Lawrence Television Network. I'm Jay Wachs, and we're talking at Schmooza Palooza, the Lawrence Business Chamber of Commerce annual event at the Orient Hotel. Joan Shultz from Willow Domestic Violence is with us. Joan, it's nice to see you again.
Hi, Jay. Yes, it's
Yes,
very nice to see you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
This time on television.
Oh, whoopee.
Last time on the radio. We're always somewhere.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what's happening at Willow Domestic Violence. If somebody did not know what your nonprofit does, what would you say in a nutshell?
We help everyone that is experiencing domestic violence, stalking, unhealthy relationships.
What defines an unhealthy relationship from, maybe something that's just sort of kidding around? How do you know where that line of demarcation is, where you're into inappropriate territory?
I think the individual knows.
Yeah.
The individual, and if they don't know, if they suspect, they can call us, and we'll help them through that process.
We live in a very different world today than the world that I grew up in.
Me too.
And the internet is a big part of that. How often do you have to deal with issues of cyber stalking or that type of electronic terror that can be invoked?
Well, it's coming up more and more. But in our SAFE program, and that is the Teen Dating Violence Prevention Program, and we are reaching every 8th grader in Lawrence Public Schools this year. And of course, an 8th grader, social media, the internet permeates their life.
Sure.
It is so interwoven in their life. So they are needing information on how to act on the internet, react to cyber stalking, react to inappropriate requests and
Sure.
things like that. So in my age group, it's less and less, but for teens, teens experience dating violence, 1 in 3, both genders. So that's pretty shocking.
Well, and let me ask you this. Do you find that, because you said both genders, and I'm aware of that, but I think most people would find that to be fascinating, that violence against men, whether perpetrated by another man or a woman, is more commonplace than we think. Is it just that they don't report it?
Yes, and not so much.
Okay.
I think 50%, and I'm just pulling these figures off my head and by experience. I think 50% is it's very new to me, and the violence is not new, but it's very new that they are able to report. And there are a lot of stigmas surrounding that with men that are not there with women. So I do believe that it's extremely underreported. And then women are getting more violent. But that's not just violence that we're talking about when we're talking with men or with either gender. We're also talking about financial abuse, emotional abuse, abuses in other ways.
What do you mean by financial abuse?
Well, using your credit, ruining somebody's credit. That's one right off the top of my head.
And that may not necessarily be peer-to-peer, that could be within the family.
Exactly.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Now,
Yes, exactly.
you have safe house services for women.
Yes.
Do you offer safe house services for men?
Everything that the Willow does is open to all genders.
I see.
Transsexual, men, women. Yes. Now, at this particular time, how we would safe house a male is a little different. But we are re-looking at our organization. We're determining how we can not separate those. I think that we'll be able to do it with a little bit of planning and probably by the next year or so.
Now, how are you funded? Are you funded through grants, or is this a private donation?
We're 80% funded by state and federal and local grants. However, the rest, the other 20%, is funded by private donations. And so when we're funded by grants, they designate what that money should be spent.
Okay.
And so private contributions don't necessarily designate. And that way we can buy shoes for children and replace driver's license, birth certificates, the things that women need in the moment.
Now, are you concerned at all with the wave of change that's occurred on the political spectrum, both in the state and across the nation, that funding may be cut in some way, shape, or form? Do you think you'll have to face that in the coming year?
I'm not sure.
Okay. But you're prepared for it through additional fundraising opportunities if it does happen?
Yes, yes. And then we may just have to cut services. That's just a fact of
I
life.
think that's a reality for all, not just domestic violence.
And if that happens, then our core service, the service that we believe is life-saving, is the shelter. We will keep it.
All right. So how do we get in touch with you, whether it's an emergency or we just want to get involved and volunteer or donate money?
The phone number is 785-331-2034.
Okay.
Yes.
And is there a website?
Yes, that is willowdvcenter.org. www.willowdvcenter.org.
Great. All right. Joan Shultz with Willow Domestic Violence. Thank you for being here at
thank you,
Schmooza
Jim.
Palooza.
Yeah.
And we'll be back with more on the Lawrence Television Network.